because we've all experienced that little bit of failure. That is the very, very most basic, fundamental part of your psyche, is that projective identification. You're identifying, you're projecting into someone else something that you can identify with and deal with remotely without having to deal with it at the time, because you're struggling with it. And yeah. So,
well, you said it before. The two things people hate the most is screwing up and then being reminded that they screw up. And they
how do you remember this? How do you remember? You really remember that stuff?
If I write it down, I can remember it better. Messing up, reminding, messing up.
But those are core pillars in life, right? Like,
right.
And
100%.
So here's a little practice for kids. This was one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had as a human. And process that, because I think I've done a lot. Everyone says they've done a lot. Picture yourself going through what I'm about to tell you, and then realize how it applies to everything that we do as people. So I have my two sons playing catch. Okay. My sons were 4 and 5. Okay. And they're playing with a big softball. But behind my 5-year-old was a window, but it was further back. But in theory, it could have bounced. Maybe if my 4-year-old had some magic throw and went over, I mean, it probably never would have. But you never know. You never know. And I had to run around the backyard to grab some wood and bring it back, because I was cutting it out there. I was watching them play catch. I was playing catch with them. And so I said, hey, Kale, my son Kale with a C. I said, Kale, Hayden, if Hayden throws the ball and you miss it, it could break the window. So if it breaks the window, you have to tell me that that the window broke and it was just an accident, and just stay away from the glass and make sure the dogs don't come over here. And he goes, okay. And I said, and I took a step and I said, let's play this out in my mind. And I said, hey, let's pretend it happened. What would you say? And he said, huh? I said, let's pretend I'm going to get the wood, and Hayden throws over your head and you miss it. What will happen? He goes, the window will break. And I said, okay, so let's pretend it broke. And he goes, but it didn't. And I said, I know, let's pretend that it did. And he goes, okay. And I said, so what would you say? And he goes, but I didn't break the window. And I said,
wow.
Even knowing that this didn't happen, it's hard for him to say something that went wrong.
Right.
And there's a reason for this, because it all ties together. And I said, let's pretend. I said, so I come back over, I'm back there and the ball goes through. What will you tell me? He goes, but I didn't break the window. And I said, I know, we're just pretending. And then it clicked. He does not want to tell me because he thinks I'm going to get mad. So people hate messing up. Right. They hate being reminded that they messed up. That's the one thing they hate more than messing up. So what I realized at that moment was, anytime somebody messes up, I have to receive it so gingerly, so nicely, because if I don't, they won't tell me they messed up again.
Right.
Okay. And so I made him practice it to the point where I said, okay, I need you to say the following. I said, Dad, I missed the ball and it broke the window accidentally. And he goes, and I go, right. Just say that. And he goes, Dad, I missed the ball and it broke the window accidentally. And I go, oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you okay? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, oh, and it took that long to pull out of the hardwiring of don't admit to failure. This person may be mad or upset, and rewire that with, this person's on my team and this person's here to help me. And that was a very, very difficult thing for me to grasp, because it's like talking about gravity not being there. It's there, and trying to explain anything without gravity is almost impossible, because that's all we know. Right. And until you're actually exposed to it, you're going to be struggling to do. You're translating. And so I experienced this firsthand with him, and I've literally re-architected how I deal with people to accommodate the concept that you don't realize that I'm on your side. So I make you practice telling me something that may or may not have gone wrong, and I react exactly the way I should react. Like in an ideal world, they're much more likely to tell me, "Hey, listen, Tony, I messed up, and and I go, what can I do? What can I do to help?" And they're just like, "Oh, thank you." It's so refreshing. So
Before
anyway.
even knowing what the mess up is. So, man, that you just enlightened me on something that. So, all right, and you've been involved, I'm sure, in like a role play training, sales role plays or whatever, right?
Yep.
Everyone loves them. But let's say I teach um, a strategy, a sales strategy. I'll bring two people up and I'll have them role play, even though it's fake. Getting that salesperson to lose, the one acting as the customer, to not be the worst customer that you've ever, even though it's like, remember these were
Just faking. Yeah.
yeah, it's just faking, and because they don't want to mess up, and
They don't.
they don't want to mess up. They don't, and in front of their peers, even though it's fake, even though you're not a customer, you're a salesperson, you're just pretending. They don't want to. Wow, that's gonna.
We're
I think,
hardwired. We're,
yeah,
we're, we're hardwired. And once I witnessed that firsthand, it made me realize I need to change, because these habits, are so hardwired in, and that's there because they're taught over time. Um, as opposed to naturally, being whatever your beliefs are traditionally taught. They're not just born into you. These are actually born into you because they've been taught over so many,
right,
generations after generations. Don't make anybody mad, and so I needed to unwire that a little bit,
right.
and it's changed the way I talk to people.